It's been a while. I don't even know where to start. But I must say, shout out to both fighters. They put on one hell of a fight. So good of a fight that the boxing community was in an uproar. And you can say for the immediate reaction of the decision, but, after some time has gone past, the community is quite split on who they think won the fight. I am a person who bet on Beterbiev to get the stoppage from round 6 to 12. And I also bet that he would get a decision, a scenario in which a lot of people were leaving off the table as if he had no chance of winning in that fashion. And the irony of that is hilarious because he literally won the decision. But for some people, they thought that a TKO stoppage was on the table for Bivol. Like, that was a scenario that could happen. And I was just like, I don't know about that. I think it was very much more likely that Beterbiev could get a decision win over Bivol than Bivol stopping him. And that's easy to say now, but like I said prior to the fight that I can see a scenario where he wins on the card. And that goes into one of the many reasons why I think his performance was impressive. The running talking point was that Bivol was going to outbox him and go to the cards and easily win the decision if Beterbiev was not able to stop him. Then, and even more so now, I just thought that was an ignorant way of judging this matchup. Beterbiev is not one of those punchers who puts a little bit of punches together and looks for one big shot. No, he puts punches and bunches together. He puts punches together. He outworked Bivol in this fight. He didn't outland him, but he outworked him in this fight. Prior to the fight, the two almost certain outcomes that people believed were going to happen is either Beterbiev was going to stop Bivol or Bivol was going to get a comfortable decision win, right? There were no other scenarios that people were really too high on going into the fight for either fighter, right? And like I said prior, nobody thought Beterbiev could win the decision. And he proved that he can win the decision. He's already proved that. Now, people's mindset was that he was going to stop him. Now, we do know both of those things are on the table going into the rematch. There is so much that Beterbiev could build on going into the rematch from his performance the other night. I cannot quite say the same thing for Dimitri Bivol. Now, don't get it twisted. His performance was also very impressive. He did a lot of great work. He had a lot of great moments. And he went 12 rounds with Artur Beterbiev. That is no small feat. He's the only man to have seen the final bell with Artur Beterbiev. I did express in the lead up to the fight that I feel Dimitri Bivol had become very overrated by the people, the masses, because of his performance against Canelo Alvarez and his victory over Canelo Alvarez, which I picked him to defeat Canelo Alvarez. So there is nothing much about his skill set that I was surprised of when he did defeat Canelo Alvarez, because I wasn't ignorant of his skill set at all. I knew what he was bringing to the table. Now, after he defeated Canelo Alvarez, the hype train started to come in, and, the non-believers became believers, and, a lot of crazy talking points were thrown out there. But I have to say, what those people were saying, some of them is justified. He is a special fighter, and he proved it the other night. Now, why do I not think there is much Dimitri Bivol can build off of based off of this performance? In my opinion, there's only one way he's going to get this job done against Beterbiev. It's going to be by decision. It's not going to be by TKO, KO. It's not going to be by any of that. And I could be wrong, but I just don't think that's very likely. Bivol tried his best to keep Beterbiev off of him. He did many things. He pulled the jab out there. He threw crisp combinations and spurts at times. He was pushing Beterbiev off of him. He was turning him. He utilized the whole ring. And if you hear all those things I said, that takes a lot of energy, especially when you have somebody who is still in your face after you're doing all of that, you know what I'm saying? And physically, that wears on you, and it wore on Bivol. It just didn't wear on him like it's wore on Beterbiev's previous opponents. So with that being said, all of the great work that Bivol put in was only good enough for a close fight. The fight could have went either way. Now, heading into the rematch, what he'll have to do is pick up the pace, and he'll have to be a bit more active to separate himself against Beterbiev. And if he's going to do that, the chances are he's going to get tired either quicker or he's going to get tired in the same fashion. Beterbiev had Bivol hurt a couple times. There were times where Bivol was letting Beterbiev get off on him for at least 20 seconds at most with no response. And most of those particular moments I speak of, they came in the second half of the fight where Bivol started to slow down. It is going to be very difficult for him to beat Artur Beterbiev in a rematch. He's really going to have to be better than he was the other night. He was pretty damn good that night. He did everything he possibly could, and like I said, it was only good enough for a close fight, and he didn't get the nod. If Beterbiev sticks with his jab and is more consistent with his body work from round one, I think he can stop Bivol, because Bivol will get tired eventually again with the great pressure that Beterbiev comes forth with. My ultimate point of making this video was just to highlight how impressed I was with Beterbiev, and I was impressed with Bivol as well, but this is just to highlight how much I was impressed with Beterbiev, because I got to sit down and, you know, review the fight again and just think about everything that went on, and it's like I took everything into consideration. He is 39 years old. He did come off of, I think, a meniscus surgery less than 5 months or 5 months ago. His conditioning was better than the younger man. He outworked the younger man, and nobody thought he was going to win a decision over Bivol, and he did that. He actually did win a decision, and no one should be screaming robbery. You know, there's a good reason for him winning the fight, and there's a good reason for somebody else thinking that Bivol won the fight. It was very close. There were a lot of swing rounds, and ultimately the judges decided on that. But 116-112 was the only disgusting thing about the decision. The only thing. This was no robbery. So he deserved, you know, the victory. And it's the same thing if Bivol would have been the one with his hand raised.